Embark on a career journey that transcends boundaries and impacts communities. Join the state of Nebraska, where innovation meets purpose and your contributions shape the future. As a valued member of our team, discover a broad range of opportunities spanning from public service to cutting-edge technology. Be a part of something bigger, where your skills make a difference, your growth is fostered, and your commitment to excellence is celebrated. With hundreds of positions waiting to be filled, Nebraska state government opens doors to fulfilling careers. Explore these opportunities at statejobs.nebraska.gov. Click on the Find a State Job link and take the first step towards your next great career in the Cornhusker State. This is the Good Life, Great Careers podcast, your gateway to a world of career opportunities within Nebraska state government. In each episode, we present a different state public servant as our honored guest, offering them a platform to share their unique journey in public service. Join us as they provide valuable insights, offer tips, and perhaps unveil exciting opportunities within their state agency.
Welcome to the Good Life, Great Careers podcast. My name is Brian Civic, and I am the Director of Workforce Training and Development for the state of Nebraska. I'm joined again by my co-host, Caitlin Betts, who is the Director of Talent Acquisition for the state of Nebraska. And we're joined today by Katie McGuire, who is with the Nebraska Department of Revenue. Katie is a revenue section manager and has been with the state for over 3 years. In her role, she co-leads a statewide team of agents, senior agents, and supervisors in efforts to assist Nebraska citizens with resolution on tax filing and account balances, including individual income tax and business tax programs. Katie, thank you for joining us today and taking the time out of your busy schedule to share a little bit about yourself with us and our listeners and about your agency. So I'd like to begin with just a couple questions. First of all, if you could tell our listeners a little bit about yourself so we can all get to know you a little bit better. And then second, just why the state of Nebraska? What inspired you to pursue a career with state government?
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I have an interesting background as far as what has led to where I am today. I am a mom of 4 and have, for a majority of their younger years, was a stay-at-home mom. Okay. And so a lot of my prior experience, I did have some college under my belt before starting our family, but then I went back to school. I was a non-traditional student. And so I went back to finish my degree and to look into full-time employment and help provide for my family. So it was a different road that led me to full-time employment with the state. As a student, I wanted to find something that was focused on people, something in my community, something that I felt like I had an opportunity to give and to have some value to what I did every day. So as a student, I was looking for something more on the lines of government work or working with our local government, or also I was looking into like nonprofit type work. So that was what spoke to me. I wanted something very people-based, something that had purpose and meaning. And so that's what led me to look into working at the state.
Now, I understand you worked in a different career before coming to the state, probably after being a stay-at-home mom. I know you had maybe had some interactions with some Department of Revenue individuals. Is that kind of what drew you into your specific department?
Yes, definitely. So I had a great opportunity to be in a position where I met a lot of people in our community who would volunteer their time to prepare income taxes for citizens of our state. And so they would volunteer their time, they'd certify. It's through an IRS program called VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And so I was a part of coordinating that. And we had sites all across Lincoln. And I, as a coordinator on that, in that program, I helped to recruit volunteers and prepare them to certify and in essence, go and prepare taxes for our citizens. And so in that role, I met many Nebraska Department of Revenue employees that volunteered their time. So that was my first interaction with Department of Revenue employees. And it's kind of cool to see that from that perspective, because these are people who are very busy, have a full-time job, have families, yet they're coming out, they're taking their time to certify and then give back to their community. And so that was my first interaction with Department of Revenue employees, and they were all very nice people. I thought, they're very nice. You think about taxes, you think about revenue, and you think, oh, I don't want to talk to those people. But it was a really eye-opening. Not that I didn't expect that, but it drew me to look further. And so that was my first kind of, that led me to when I needed something else. I was looking for a job that would provide some benefits that I was seeking. And so that also led me to state employment, because that's another draw, the benefits and how it helps, the stability. That's the word I'm looking for. The stability that the state offers and benefits that are offered and what that would mean for my family. And that's really what drew me to look for employment and the Department of Revenue.
Awesome. So you talked about like your first, encounter with people from Department of Revenue, and just kind of how that may be surprising, and not surprising that they were nice, but taxes are not always the most exciting topic, right? But I'm assuming that probably for most of our listeners, that's what they think of when they think of Department of Revenue. But there's a lot of different departments within the Department of Revenue. So could you talk a little bit just on a broader scope of your agency, the different divisions within Department of Revenue, and maybe what some of those different divisions do?
Absolutely. There are multiple areas you can become involved in, and opportunities available at the Department of Revenue. You do not have to have a tax background to find employment there, or to be a good fit for employment there. Some tax knowledge is helpful, but not necessary. You definitely, and there's so many different opportunities. We can, if you're looking at a big scale of like who would be a good fit. I mean, there's so many opportunities. It could be a part-time or temporary job that someone's looking for. Maybe a student who's looking for some hours and wants to find part-time employment or temporary employment through the summer. There's also full-time employment opportunities, so many of them. And it's on a scale where it could be, let's say you have a background in accounting and you did go to school and have accounting experience, you would be a great fit for an auditor position. And those are an opportunity at the Department of Revenue. Or like an attorney. So that's more specific to their education. There are attorney positions. Besides that, there are so many others. You could work in our revenue operations area, and you don't need to have prior tax knowledge or specific education to come and work there. You may or may not have a bachelor's degree. There are opportunities on a wide scale in many different positions. So we are looking for their examiner positions and agent positions. There are clerk positions and positions there's a policy area, a legal area, there's an operations area, there's a collections area, there's a taxpayer assistance area. Wow. And that area is really close to my heart because I love the customer service aspect. And I know that those, and that was an area I spent some time in, and the majority of my time at the Department of Revenue in taxpayer assistance. And so our outreach and our response to inquiries that come into the department, whether it's at our counter, whether it's over the phone, and the response that we give there. So if you have some customer service experience, that would be a good fit for you. Or if you work well with others, you can talk easily with others, or like to have face-to-face or over the phone interaction. That's a good fit as well. So there's multiple areas and lots of different opportunities at this.
I love that. I think that's true across the state of Nebraska as an employer, that there's so much opportunity. And it's interesting to hear, just even within one agency, that there's a little bit of something for everyone. And I understand you actually have held a few different positions, or a couple different positions with revenue. So you've already had the opportunity to grow your career there. Can you tell us a little bit of how that experience has been for you?
I would love to. So when I first applied and started at the state, or at the Department of Revenue, I started in the area of initial operations, and I was a supervisor. And this is an area where anything that comes to the department comes into that area. And so it was a really great place to start because you could see all the different tax programs that the Department of Revenue is involved with, business taxes, different business tax programs, and then individual income tax. So it was a really nice place to see where there's so many different areas involved and be part of that. So starting there, it led very quickly to another change for me, and I moved over to taxpayer assistance and really loved my time over there in that area. And it was a lot of outreach, and I was a supervisor on a team of individual income tax agents and those that are responding to phone calls that come into the department, and anyone who comes in person, and we responded there too. And I really enjoyed that and the experience of working with people every day. And not one day was the same. I mean, every day you're going to get different questions. Yep. And it's an area, it was really valuable for me because you learn so much with all the questions that come in. We're needing to provide answers, and your knowledge base builds pretty quickly. And it was really a nice experience. And then moved over recently to the area of collections, and it's opened my knowledge base even more, and I'm learning about more of the business side of things as well. So what I love about my experience at the department is that I've grown and progressed in different capacities, and really have seen that you can have movement. You can see opportunities, and they present themselves, and they're available. And, starting in one position, it opens a door for some other positions. And that's really my experience is a testament to that. You can start in one place, but there's opportunities to move. There's opportunities to grow and opportunities to try something else and build and see not just one area, but another area and another area. So that's been really exciting.
What have you personally found most rewarding about working for the department?
My favorite part about working for the Department of Revenue are the people I work with every day, and they're wonderful. So I think it's really nice when you enjoy working with and being a part of a team and the team atmosphere. So that's something that as a manager now that I look to promote with my team. We definitely want to have that environment that is cohesive, that is helpful, that is supportive. And so definitely the people make my job. And I also really value that I have opportunities to help and to support those that in our state, the citizens of Nebraska. Any of the questions that come in, it's an opportunity to help and to assist somebody, whether it's to understand what's going on an account, what are my responsibilities on this, how can I get my question answered or my problem resolved? There's all sorts of things that could come in that we work with people to work through whatever it is and find a resolution. And so definitely those are the top two, the people and the opportunity to serve the citizens of the state.
Awesome. So right now you're a revenue section manager. You talked a little bit about what your role, but could you do a little bit deeper dive on what's a day in the life look like for you right now in this role? What all entails being a revenue section manager?
There's so much. And in any role, I know that, you have lots of opportunities, lots of focuses. And that's what I experience every day. Like, number one, I want to support my team. I'm available to my team. I'm there as a resource, as someone that can guide or help in whatever way is needed. So that's number one for me. So day to day looks very different. A part of also in conjunction with being there for my team, I'm also responsive to any type of question that comes to me. So as a priority, if there's someone who's reaching out that is a citizen of our state with a question on an account, that is a priority for me. So there's so many different aspects of what I do every day, but those are they're co-number ones, being there for my team and responding every day to whatever questions come. So, and assisting our citizens of our state. So those, those go hand in hand, I think, because I know that the people on my team are also doing the same. So when I'm helping someone on my team to answer a question, to work through something with an account that affects, a citizen of the state, I'm doing that. So both of those go hand in hand. And so that's number one and co-number ones. But anything else, I'm working with our leadership team. I'm working with the other managers of other areas of the department, and we're working together to make sure that all of the decisions that happen are focused where they need to be, and that we're moving forward and taking action and resolving, and all of the things that come up as a leader that are important to make happen. So it's different every day. And, there are meetings, there are phone calls, there are emails, and really another favorite part of my day is just walking by and saying hello to the people around me, and having some personal one-on-one for a moment, because we that's really nice to have some face-to-face interaction every day.
You're in the office in Lincoln, right? And maybe the majority of your team is there, but I understand the Department of Revenue has other locations throughout the state. Can you tell us more about where those locations are and maybe what opportunities might be available?
Oh, definitely. Yes. So we do have other locations. Our main office is here in Lincoln, and that's where I work. There's also an office in Omaha. That's another one of our main offices. So those two, I would say, are the top two offices. And then we do have an office in Norfolk, an office in North Platte, and an office in Scottsbluff. And so there are agents and senior agents and supervisors on my team in each of those offices. So that's one of the really interesting parts of my job too, is that we're across the whole state. And it's been really, it's been a great experience for me to go and visit those offices and meet in person. We definitely meet on our computers every day through different platforms, and we do have lots of interaction electronically, but to go and visit each of those offices. But there's opportunities all across the state, mainly in Lincoln and Omaha, but definitely those offices offer other positions and openings.
Well, you talked a little bit about what surprised you or what energizes you with your role. What are some of the bigger challenges maybe you face in the department or in your current role?
We definitely have seen some vacancies, and that's a challenge. I think overall we're responding. This is an opportunity right here to put a message out there of what's available, and to hopefully have the message put out there for people to respond to. But definitely the vacancies, it can be challenging because we want to make sure that that we're providing the best service we can to citizens of our state. And so we need to have people in those crucial roles. And so we're definitely, that would be a challenge. And it's something that we're working on every day. And we are looking when applications come in to schedule interviews and to start some of those hiring processes and bring people in and start their training. So definitely that's probably one of our biggest challenges.
Do you know off the top of your head approximately how many openings you have or vacancies?
If I could say how many, probably at least maybe 50 positions.
Yeah. So a lot of opportunity there.
There's a lot of opportunity, yes.
And you mentioned earlier, it's both seasonal tax help as well as permanent opportunity. And I know my team partners with the Department of Revenue on the seasonal tax help. So I've seen a little bit of that firsthand, but can you tell us a little bit more about, what they do? I understand it's kind of like the front line in tax season. So
definitely, yes. So our seasonal, and sometimes it's throughout the year. It's not necessarily just during the months of tax when we're preparing for April 15th. it could be throughout the year too. There are definitely opportunities, but yes, taking a position as a temporary position is a great place to start. There have been employees that started in that position and took full-time employment and moved progressively to other promotions. So it's a great place to come in and see what it looks like and to start. It is definitely on the front lines. I would say, the taxpayer assistance area is front lines work. The temporary positions available, that would be right where all of the mail is coming in, all of the paper forms that come in, and some of seeing those forms to sort them and to there's a process of validating and batching, validating, entry, and then scanning, and then there's bringing them to and from like the walls of paperwork that do come in. A lot of the forms that come in are more electronic of recent years, but we do still have a lot of paper forms that come in. But that would be a lot of what the temporary work looks like.
Anything else that we haven't covered about your position or team that you'd like to share?
I think that it's a great place to work. It's great because of the people, because of the opportunities, and because it's an opportunity to serve the citizens of the state in a way that's very real. The revenue that comes in funds so many programs and funding that that really does have an effect on our state. And so not only are it's an obligation we all have to pay our taxes, but to have someone on the other end that can help you and is responsive. That's another of our goals is to be responsive. And so I would say those are the main benefits and opportunities are enjoying the people and helping our citizens and the opportunities to move up and to have promotional opportunities.
Well, if you're ready, we'll move into our fun hot seat portion. We'll kick it off with maybe an easy question.
Okay.
Just pizza or burgers?
Oh, pizza.
100%.
What's your favorite Nebraska landmark or attraction?
The Nebraska Cornhusker Stadium for sure.
Yeah, go Huskers.
Yes.
If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Is there a song called Beautiful Crazy or something? What is that? That song? So I Have a Beautiful Life is also crazy. That's the title of that country song.
I love that, yeah. Do you have any hidden talents?
I play the piano.
Nice.
And I taught piano for a number of years.
Cool.
I was a stay-at-home mom.
We should have brought a piano in so you could have demonstrated.
I could have done a little.
Next time. Roller coasters or Ferris wheels?
Roller coaster.
If you could travel back in time, what era would you visit?
Maybe when our country was forming, that would be really cool. Yeah. Challenging, but a lot happened.
Do you have a favorite book or one that's had an impact on your life?
So in our family, we love the Harry Potter series. Mm-hmm. And for a number of years, I read the books to my children every night. And so they have a love for it as well. So then we would have to watch after the book, the movie. And so we love that.
Fun.
Nice.
Any final advice you'd give someone considering a career with the state of Nebraska?
I would say, look into it, check it out, see what's available. There are a lot of opportunities and it could open doors for you. And it's a rewarding career, something that I've really enjoyed. And I could not have imagined when I started where it would lead me. So you might find opportunities that are very real and will benefit you, benefit your family, will benefit opportunities and those around you. So I would say that's the best part.
That's great.
Awesome.
Well, Katie, thank you so much for being here today. It's been great to get to know you and learning a little bit about your career with the state. For our listeners, if you want to check out our great career opportunities, including those with the Department of Revenue, go to statejobs.nebraska.gov and click on Find a State Job. While you're there, you can also find links to our Nebraska State Job social media channels, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We'd love to have you follow us to learn even more about our great careers. If you want to learn more about the Department of Revenue, go to revenue.nebraska.gov. There's also a lot of great content on the Nebraska Department of Administrative Services YouTube channel, including this podcast. So make sure to search for us there and hit subscribe so you're notified of future podcast episodes. On behalf of our guest, Katie, my co-host, Brian, and myself, I want to thank you for tuning in and learning more about the great careers here in the Good Life.